place, the very first word of the Bible, Bereshit, that's how you pronounce it in the Hebrew. It's like 3 syllables. But the bar, it almost sounds like bar mitzvah means son of the covenant or son of the commandments. It's like son, but also it's a dwelling place. It was a tent. The original Hebrew, it's a tent. And then you could see the one up here, it looks like right up here, it looks like a shelter. So it's like Jesus said, abide in me, dwell in me, live in me, abide in me. He's your abode, your dwelling place. He goes to prepare a place for you, all those things. And then the second letter is Resh, R-E-S-H, Resh. That's how you pronounce it. But you can see right here, the ancient paleo, it's a person. You can see how it's a symbol of a person, right? That's like their head, right? Okay, it's of a man. And then Aleph, the third letter of this first word of the Bible, it means Genesis, by the way, it just means beginnings. Aleph, it stood for strength or the Father. It even speaks of God. Okay, that's Aleph, and there's the ancient Paleo-Hebrew. And then the next one would be the Sheen. It looks like a W kind of. You could see right up there in the middle, the Sheen. It's like in Israel today, they have a unit, a special operations unit called the Shin Bet. It means the sun. Bet means sun, right? We just talked about that. It's like the sons of destruction. They're protecting the people of Israel, and they're the tough guys, right? And they destroy and they devour the enemy. So that's, Sheen speaks of it was like a flesh, you could see it looks like a W, but it was like the symbol of the 3-prong flesh hook, the way they would put the flesh in, at the altar, or it means consume or wrath, or the original Paleo-Hebrew was teeth, devour. And then the next one we see is the Yod, and the Yod, that's that tiny little one over there, the second to last one. The Yod is like his hand, and it speaks of his own ownership by his own hand. And then the last letter of the first word of the Bible is the Tav. The Tav is the cross, and it meant a sign, a covenant, a symbol of ownership. And it was a straight up and down cross in the ancient Paleo-Hebrew, the original. And then they changed it. You could see it looks like an N up there. But that was a cross. Now look at that spelled out. The dwelling place, it also speaks of a son. Remember, Shin Bet, right? Speaks of a son. Man, right? God, destroyed by his own hand at the cross. The very first word of the Bible spells out the gospel, the good news of Jesus Christ. And you can just imagine Jesus on that day in Luke chapter 24, on that road to Emmaus, those 2 guys, his 2 disciples, they walked 7 miles. That's like 2.5 hours, and he showed them where he's found in all of the scriptures. And then later he showed the rest of the disciples, these things were written about me in the law of Moses, the prophets, and the Psalms, and they must be fulfilled. And he said he opened their eyes to understand. Isn't this awesome? In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Wow. Amazing that God did this. And there's even more. I mean, you could keep going. You could look at Joseph's story, for instance. He was the father's most favored son. He was despised and rejected by his own, right? Israel. They rejected him the first time, as Stephen pointed out in Acts chapter 7 with both Moses and Joseph. But what happens later? He was sent by the Father out of Hebron. Hebron means alliance or fellowship. To do what? To go down to his brothers, the 12 tribes of Israel, and to give them a report, to go down there. And he went down there, and where did he find him? At Dothan, and Dothan means laws and customs. That's where Jesus found the shepherds of the Father's flock. In the laws and customs, they were stuck there. And then what does he do? He goes in there, they despised him, they conspired to murder him even before he came near. And then when he finally came near, what did they do? They stripped him of his tunic. They beat him, threw him into that dry well that speaks of the cross. And then they handed him over to the Gentiles. And then later, Joseph was falsely accused, and he was sent to the place of judgment, that condemned down to that dungeon, that place of the judgment. And there were two down there with him. Remember that two? The cupbearer and the baker, just like the cross. The cupbearer was given life. He said, in 3 days you will live and be restored to the king and serve him again. And then the other one, the baker, he was cursed to the tree, cursed, just like the two on the cross. And then what happens after that? Joseph is raised up to that place of the condemned, brought before the throne, and he was the only one found worthy to reveal God's plan for the future. Just like Revelation chapter 5, Jesus was the only one found worthy to take the scroll out of the right hand of he who sat on the throne. Amazing. And then what happens? He was honored. He was made the right-hand man to the throne. All had to bow the knee except for he who sat on the throne. He was given charge over all of the kingdom. And then what happens there? He was given a Gentile bride. This is amazing. Both Joseph and Moses had Gentile brides. They were both despised the first time on the first visitation, but they ended up both with Gentile brides shepherding in the Gentile land, and God has them save Israel, both of them. Joseph, during that 7-year time of great trouble, his bride was already with him in his palace, and he collected that last piece of grain in that Gentile land into his storehouses. It's like Romans chapter 11, verse 25, when that last number of Gentiles has come to Christ, then all of Israel will be saved. So during the 7-year time of great trouble, this famine, which was all over the whole face of the world at that time, what happens? His brothers come back to him, and then on their second visit, he finally reveals to them that he is alive. And they go back and they tell Jacob, who is also called Israel, they tell Israel, Joseph is alive. And Israel says, now I may live because my son is alive. And it's like Zechariah chapter 12, when he reveals to them that he is alive. They look upon him whom they had pierced, and they mourn together for him. Joseph mourned with each one of those brothers, the 12 tribes of Israel. It parallels Zechariah 12. And then he saves all of Israel. He gives them new clothing and it takes care of them. And he joins them, his old family, to his new family, his Gentile bride, as one family forever and ever. That is God's plan, spelled out in the story of Joseph. Do you see how important it is for us to read the whole Bible? Now, you guys, do you get it? I mean, look at this picture. This is from Saqqara, Egypt. And this, my friend, is a wall painting. They say, the experts say that these are Hebrew people with new clothing coming back with these officials that you could see right there with a document, and then you can't see it, but right here, there's an oversized official that they're handing this document to, which many believe was Joseph, a picture of Joseph. And these Hebrew people have new clothing, and you could see one of them right here. You can barely see it at the top there. He's bound. Could that be Simeon? Was that a picture of Joseph? We don't know. But here you could see a lyre in one of them. Down here at the very end, there's second to the end, there's a guy with a lyre. It looks like a scrolls on that donkey. And they're all wearing new clothing. Hebrew people with new clothing. This was found in Saqqara, Egypt, a wall painting, very well preserved. Amazing stuff, you guys. So here's the thing. Jesus is all over the Old Testament. We're going to be going through the entire Bible, the whole Bible, in a year. And it's exciting because we are going to be blessed. You and me, my friend, are going to be blessed as we do this. And the beautiful thing is you can come back, you can watch these videos. If you can't get all of it, you can watch the rest of it later. But we'll be going through the whole Bible. Isn't that awesome? So don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell. You won't miss anything. No strings attached, doesn't cost you anything. And comment down below where you're watching from and what you think about it. I love you guys. Remember this. The theme of the Bible is the rescue mission of Jesus Christ to you and me. And remember this, that Jesus wins in the end. And we do too if you belong to him. So God bless you. I love you, my friend. Talk to you soon.